goodbye, Tom?
What's the thing? It's not adios, it's not goodbye. It's adios, not goodbye, whatever. What's the song? I don't know. I don't know. I'm still here. I haven't been tapped on the shoulder yet. So I'm just, as I've been doing since September, I'm just going with the flow. And just as long as I'm required, I'll be here.
Just to push you on that a little bit.
Yeah, I'm surprised if you wouldn't.
You kind of, there are a few hugs at the final whistle. It must feel like, it could be a last game. Do you have any thoughts about it?
No, look, this has been amazing for me, to be honest. I never dreamt that I would be sitting in this seat here right now. I mean, I'm at the stage of my career where I'm not really looking for a career. So anything that comes up that such as this, which excites me and is amazing, is good. And however long it lasts, I'll just keep going in and doing my job. So if this is the last game, then so be it. I'll just then become a supporter in the stand. If the FA want me to continue or need me to continue, I will continue. And when I do it, and when or if I do that, I'll just continue to do the job as if I've come in as a coach to do the job. It's quite simple for me, really.
Tom, regardless of if it's you in the dugout or the She Believes Cup, or a new coach coming in the She Believes Cup, what foundation do you think this side will have to build on heading into 2025 after what you've seen these past few months?
I think it's been the last couple of months have been quite positive. I've certainly felt quite positive at the end of it. I think we've been, having a window like this has been quite fortunate in the sense it's allowed us to get some quality game time for players that haven't had a lot of game time, and then to be able to see players that you think have done well and have stepped up. And I think quite a few of them have done that. So I think automatically now, if I'm sitting down and reassessing at the end of the year, and if I'm looking towards the She Believes Cup, there's much more competition for those 23 spots in the squad than I think there was a few months ago.
Anyone from over here? Chris?
Assuming you aren't, I'm so sorry, but assuming you aren't there in February,
Yeah.
you're handing over the job to what's in the hand going up? What are you kind of telling this person, your observations, your ideas that you would pass on to them that they can make this?
Good luck. Look, it depends on what questions that person wants to ask me, to be honest. Then it no longer becomes my job. So it would probably be very dependent on who comes into the job. If it's somebody that probably knows me quite well and is quite comfortable to talk to me and wants to seek my opinion, then fantastic. It could be somebody that comes in and just wants to start afresh and completely take over, and and I don't become relevant. Either way, whatever happens. What my position is that I would be available to help in whatever way I'm asked. And if I'm not, I'm not. And if I am, I'll give the coach my opinion. If he or she decides to take it, good. If they decide not to take it, equally good.
Tom, just what have you seen from some of the players we might not know as well in these games? What have you seen from her, and what have you seen from Fryer as someone that was?
Well, I've seen players that have stepped up into this international arena and look comfortable. I think one of the key things is that as a coach is trying to identify players who you think can play at international level. There's some players that can play really, really well at club level and at different levels at club level, but not quite good enough to step up into the international arena. I think what I've seen in these last few games and having the chance to work with some players is that we've unearthed a few players that I think have that capability to step up and play at international level.
On that, we will speak to Sian, as we said next before. What has she brought? You under some pretty offensive debut, some very exciting attacking plays in the past.
She's kind of got a bit of an X factor. You're never quite sure what she's going to do. She looks like if you're looking at one of those wildlife films, she looks like one of those lions that just sort of float about, and then suddenly there's a bit of prey, and they're off and they get them. And you just kind of never know what she's going to do. She sort of looks like she just lobs along, but then her pace is so deceptive, and her ability to go past players. I think, so she's got real raw potential. I think there's some refinement needed in her game when we start going to the next level against real high quality players. But again, I think, when you start to look at the ingredients that make an international player, and when you look at the ingredients in a player that can make a difference, I think she's got all those parts. The question now is for her to get the more opportunities at this level, and hopefully then she continues to rise to this level.
Follow up and then we'll go to John.
And just before you came into this interim role, I think we said there was a bit of a level of giving the players the hug and then also sort of kicking them on to the next level at the same time. Post-Olympics, this is one that do you feel like that's been a success? What do you feel like has been a real success for you in a period that could have easily just been a holding pattern and not?
Yeah, I think what's been a success for me is that the response I've had from the players and the staff. When I went into the team in Switzerland for the first couple of team meetings, I thought I was turning up at a funeral, if I'm being honest. And what I've seen now is that I think the team's come back to life again, and there's a bit more noise and a bit more enthusiasm and things around the team. So, for me that's really important, and hopefully that'll continue.
You've previously overseen a period of rejuvenation in this team, back when you were bringing this golden generation through, and I guess you've talked about players coming up in competition, inevitably in periods of rejuvenation, players coming in, these players have to move out of the way for them, but at the same time it can be so easy to just try and move players out before they actually need to move out. Tamika Yalp's a veteran, but she was best on ground quite easily tonight. How do you manage that process of simultaneously bringing players through and seeing players out, but not being too hasty with that? How do you strike the balance?
It's a challenge of management. I don't, there's no one rule, to be honest. You do it partly just through your feeling. You do it through performance. If somebody comes in and you think that they're good enough to perform and are performing better than an experienced player who's been in there for some time, then at some stage you just have to make that decision. But it's complex to be able to say you do it here or here or here. You never know. And I think Tamika is a great example. I think in fairness to say, over the last few years, Tamika's probably been a fringe player. Now, if you look at her over the last couple of months, she's suddenly taken her game to a level that I haven't seen in a very, very long time. So it's just, you hopefully get that balance right, and then you hopefully you make the right decisions. The proof is in the pudding of the results at the end of the day.
Final couple for Tom. Jack.
Just going to the vibe around Switzerland, it felt like a funeral. What does it feel like now? And how did you get here?
Well,
what have you done with the players?
I haven't really done anything. It's just, I think when you come off, the expectations of this team were so high, and the pressures were so high, and then when that happens and you come off a tournament where things don't go well, there's an automatic downer. And I think it was just a case of that happening, and then with me coming in, obviously I knew quite a lot of the senior players, but there's players that don't know me and don't quite know what's happening next. So there's a lot of uncertainty, I think, and that was the case. I think what's happened since then is that things have stabilised a little bit, and and the team's kind of starting to come back to life again.
Within the football community in Australia, really taken to it, and they worry, they have concern for how the team's going, and how Sam's going, and how Courtney and Mary are going. But is there anything you can say to give them confidence that the team's in a good state?
Well, I think I think if you've looked at these last few games, I think that would have hopefully come out quite clearly, because it's hard. Obviously, people don't see the off the field because there's nothing there. But I think if you look at the on the field efforts and performances in the last game, even going back to the Germany game, I think that shows a team that's cohesive, a team that's back on track again, a team that enjoys being together and a team that enjoys playing together. So hopefully those things have started to come through in the performances.
Final one over here.
We've asked you about Claire plenty during this camp, but now it's real. She's come up for the final time. I guess, what were the emotions like when you come up? So you gave her a hug as she came off.
Yeah.
Did you say anything to her?
I just said, can you believe we are both here? I mean, who would have thought, from 18 years ago, and then suddenly it's back to that stage again. Anyway, Poles takes these things in her stride. She would have quite happily exited stage left without any fanfare or whatever. But it's just a special moment, and I think, when you look back in anybody's career, whether a player or a coach, it's about the experiences and the people, and I think that's the sort of special thing about tonight, and the special thing about Claire and things around the team.
Fantastic.
Thanks, Tom.
Good? No, thank you. Appreciate all your questions, the grillings.